So why'd you name your studio Unity Game? What's the
Unity
significance there?
gain, interesting. Well, a quick interesting story. I always had this desire to be a an audio engineer. Ever since I was little, I had recorders and so on and so forth. So, I got a pretty big
More so than a
family,
dentist?
more so than a dentist for
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
And no one pushed me to being a dentist. It was just for some reason that was also for some reason attractive, which now I can't figure out why. But anyway, so being my little recording enthusiast, so I'm talking at the age of 10, 12. I have a pretty big family in New York. One of my cousins, older than me, had a relationship with a very big tape manufacturing facility in the New York area called Burlington. So he said, "You like to use these cassette decks a lot. I'm going to set you up with my friend who is a distributor of tape." I go, "Great." So here I am, 15 now or 14. He drives me there and I make my little account and I'm buying cassettes from him and I'm recording with my cassette deck, which of course was the hottest thing. And at that time, because we're talking 1975, 6,
Hmm.
7. So there's a reason why I'm telling the story. So basically, I do that. I'm with her. I decide in 1987 uh, to come to Florida. I come to Florida, relocate, get everything going. I'm in motion late 87, early 88. And I call up Burlington and I say, "This is Anthony. Oh, yeah, you're Dave's friends from Carmine and so on and so forth. Yeah, I need to change my account from my name to a new name that I created as a corporate name." He goes, "Shoot, no problem." He goes, "Okay, Anthony, your last name?" I go, "Iannucci." He goes, "I don't find it. I'm not finding it here." I go, "Because it's impossible. I know you. And this is the owner of the facility."
Hmm.
What? It winds up that at the age of 15, I put Unity Gain as my name.
Wow.
So that was really kind of spooky and weird. He goes, "What are you going to name the facility?" I said, "Unity Gain." He goes, "Here it is right here." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, You actually gave me the name Unity Gain when you were 15, that many years ago."
Wow.
I go, wow. So what does it mean? It means carrying the signal through each and every stage of the process optimally. At Unity, you're not adding nor subtracting signal that should be there at a regular flow rate or energy.
Right. So if you throw an EQ on your track, say an insert effect,
Mhm.
and you're making boosts, you're increasing volume. So now you need to bring the output down to compensate, and that's for every step of the process.
Again, you're good.
Yeah.
You know some stuff.
A good teacher. Okay.
You
Yeah.
know some stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And if you maintain it, because think about it, that's just a single signal we're talking about. Let's say the average mix is 2430. I've done mixes with 100 tracks. 100 times that approach is going to give you a great recording.
Mm-hmm.
100 times that neglect,
So what
as you would
happens if you
imagine.
don't maintain Unity Gain?
Well, a perfect example would be as I'm learning in New York from my mentor, who I told you about earlier. He said to me, "Okay, I've got this recording. We're going to use the same console, the same exact tape machine, and play back the same song. I would like you to mix this song to the best of your ability." So I took the song and not having to pay for studio time because I was engineering there, I took my time and mixed this thing. I mean, I'm going to prove to him I got the greatest ears in the world. And, as you mature as a mixing engineer, yeah, there are times as you're doing it, you're like, wow, this is good. And it is probably better than your previous one. But then years later, you listen back to it and say, what was I thinking back then?
Mm-hmm.
You develop and you
Oh
get
yeah.
better and better and better. So basically, I'm proud to present this mix. And then he played it. He listened to it. He said, very good. This and that. Then he played me his mix.
Mm.
Boy, was that an eye opener. I went, and he didn't play it to embarrass me, to put me down, to make me sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but he played it to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
And he pushed across the point of Unity Gain too.
Mm.
He said, "This is what you can squeeze out of a system if you really understand the circuitry, what the system can do, what the playback engine can do, what your preamp systems can do."
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I wish I had it today. It was night and day.
Mm.
It was just, it made mine sound so ridiculous, but in my world, mine was great. But in the real world, if you were to pick between them, there was no comparison. The image, as a developing engineer, you have little ticks you have problems with. And as I look back, I don't know why, panning. Where's the right place to place them? How much, how far, compression, how much do I use, overall level, how much level is too much, too little. All those factors add up in the end to, what's going to sound right.
Mm-hmm. So it's
fine.
basically just getting the maximum efficiency out of your equipment, or even right plugins. It's still important that there's a certain
that could break that
yeah.
whole thing. You can have this whole system humming at its maximum and
Mhm.
decide, it all sounds great, but needs some compression. Let's say, because we're on that topic, and you put that compression in and just blow everything. You
Mhm.
bring everything down too low. Bring
So it
everything
just
up
ruins
too
the
high.
quality of basically. Is the
Sure, it now changes everything.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's so important right to the end. It's like going through this whole process, and calibration is a very important thing to do. I have this piece of equipment. I'm now moving this signal to the next. Well, it makes sense that both of them match, right? The intensities, that you don't unknowingly apply signal to the next piece of machinery to record that's too intense or not intense enough. You've now compromised. Again, that whole chain thing has broken at the end.
Mhm.
And it's a shame because you put so much energy to the whole process. Lots of times this happens without even knowing it's happening because you're not aware of the importance of unity gain.
Mhm. Great response there.
Mhm.
So, last question: what's, I guess, your number one piece of advice you give to a home studio producer?
Really, my one piece of advice would be analyze. You must listen to everything you do. As an engineer, you always want to get better and better. So listen to what others do commercially and have that be a goalpost. Have that be something you look toward in emulating. Because there's nothing wrong with emulating. There's nothing wrong with reverse engineering and emulating something. Then you'll start finding your own identity and get better and better and better at it. But to kind of just record, not listen to what you do, not listen to what anybody else is doing out there, and be in your own bubble, you're not going to mature. You're not going to grow anywhere. Be open to other suggestions. There are people that are going to give you suggestions and they've got motives that aren't honorable.
Mhm.
Then there are people that are going to give you suggestions and they're from experience. Try to decipher those and learn from the positive ones and mature, become better. Because it's something I noticed in this industry that just is nonstop. I think it's part of what perpetuates me to continue.
Mhm.
Is this fresh? There's always something new. Wow, look at that approach, this approach. Boy, there's so many examples I can bring up, but there's always something somebody's presenting to you that's a twist on what you've done already.
Mhm.
So you got to kind of just change things up a little bit and learn from it.
Mhm. So yeah, analyze, be open to feedback, and just always be improving. So.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's a great interview.
My friend.
Great talking to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Reagan.
Hey, if you got value from this video, feel free to drop a like so more home studio producers like yourself can find this content. And again, remember, if you're looking for a proven step-by-step process for consistently producing pro quality music from home, then just grab my free rapid song finishing checklist in the description below. Also, if you're just looking for more tips and tutorials on how to produce pro level music from home, then just check out my playlist or video on the screen right now. All right, have an awesome day and keep creating.